From what I am learning is that our outlook on something can affect our mood. And, I've seen it plenty of times, in my walk, where if something negative happens at the beginning, then it's a good chance that another negative will happen after that. And, my mood can change to where, I become moody and angry. And, there's no positive whatsoever that I can bring up until I get into that place with God and He shows me, you know, light, stuff I can do that will change the outcome of how I am feeling. And, I have a journal in which, I keep, I try to keep up on it every day, but that doesn't happen. But I always state in it, what's going on, and it just seems like nothing but negative that I put in it. And, my cousin was like telling me about, months ago, about that I will be putting forth like a journal so people can see what I go through. But I'm honestly not sure if that's really of God. That's going to have to be put on the shelf. And, just so, I don't want people reading it and get ticked off because they're indirectly mentioned. But, it's a journal. And, I don't want my journal to be like all negative for people to read and them thinking, gee, this guy always thinks negative. And really, it's not that way at all. It's just that the circumstances are negative. What happens is negative. But my response to the negative can be different. I don't have to let the negative get to me. I can always seek God and find out what I need to do. How I need to act. Lord, what do you want me to do in this situation? And sometimes I'll do it, but sometimes one negative thing can happen after another. And, I do find that I could be very self-centered, and if things don't go according to the way I want them, or something is taken away from me, like rest or something, then I'll get very negative and upset because I want people to see, how I'm feeling about this. So it depends. I mean, you may be feeling the same thing, in situations where, you're somebody's, treating you negatively. And it seems like that sets the mood for the rest of your day. And unless you come against the negative mood that you're feeling, you're going to hit one negative after another. Anything that comes up, instead of hitting it with, what God is saying and the positive, then it's like hitting a negative speed bump each time you hit it. So, our response to the negative is what really matters. What are we going to do in that situation? Are we going to go to God and think the good, or are we going to think the bad? And, there are days that I can counter, what I'm feeling, but there are other days where I'm just hit with one negative after another, and it's coming up with what I perceive as something that's not just, and how I react to these feelings of injustice, or if wrong is done to me, if nobody is going to see it with their own eyes, and, nobody thinks about me, then I get ticked off. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think each of us probably deal with negativity differently, but I think when we face that negative, it's going to God and having a good outlook. You know, Lord, what do you want me to do in this situation? What can I do? You know, it's just continually putting the heart of other people above us, above our wishes, above our wants. I mean, I don't know how, Jesus dealt with, a lack of rest in ministering. He could have slept, but there was always something that came up and took his attention away, from himself. I mean, just to prove how exhausted he was is when he was on that boat with his disciples, and the waves, the storm was happening, and, the disciples woke him up. Well, he was really exhausted from ministering, to countless people, bringing healing, multiplying food for them, preaching. That can really, you do that so much, that can really take a toll on your body. And, that's exactly what I think happened to him. But he didn't have a negative disposition after, you know, after he was woken up by his disciples, or being constantly ministering to people. People constantly coming, he can't eat, he can't sleep. And I think his disciples were feeling that aggravation, where, parents brought their kids to Jesus to have Jesus put his hands on them, and they stopped him. They were probably thinking about themselves and how they wanted to rest. Were they really thinking about God, Jesus? So, we are, as humans, still subjected to the flesh, or we can be. But it depends on our focus. Are we going to focus on the positive? Or are we going to focus on the negative in any negative situation that may come? So, I just wanted to share that with you. I don't know if that's what you think as well. And, if this video has helped you, that's awesome, because we're in this walk together. And, all we can do is really go to God and try to put the hearts of other people above us. And, and put God above our hearts. So, thanks for watching.